I woke up at 5 that morning. I wanted the table to look right. I set out the lace runner, the plates, the silverware Aaron liked. I roasted the turkey and kept checking the temperature every 30 minutes. By noon, the house smelled like every Thanksgiving I had hosted for more than 40 years. I moved slowly but steady. I brewed a pot of coffee. I wiped the counters twice. I fixed the mums by the window. I wanted the place to feel warm because this was still my home. By late afternoon, the guests started arriving. Aaron's coworkers, some friends, a few people I didn't know. Everyone laughed in the living room. I heard compliments about the food, the decorations, the house. I stayed in the kitchen, arranging the last bowl on the table. At 5 o'clock, I took off my oven gloves and placed the turkey in the center. I straightened my back. I pulled the chair at the head of the table, the chair where I had always sat. The room changed the moment I touched the chair. Aaron stood up so fast the chair behind him scraped the floor. "Mom, no, get out!" His voice was sharp. "I didn't invite you." The noise stopped. Forks froze mid-air. Someone coughed and then went quiet. I looked at him. "You're telling me to leave the table in my own house?" I asked. He didn't blink. "You're not part of this dinner. Please get out." Sabrina, standing next to him, placed a hand on his arm. She smiled at the guests, soft and polite, as if nothing was wrong. Then she looked at me with an expression that wasn't polite at all. "Aaron," she whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "She's tired. Let her rest." Rest. I had been on my feet since dawn. I kept my voice calm. "I prepared this meal," I said. Sabrina tilted her head. "We appreciate it," she answered. "But tonight is for Aaron's people. You might feel out of place." Someone at the far end muttered, "Awkward," and looked away. I took a breath, a steady one. "So I'm not welcome at my own table?" Aaron didn't soften. "Mom, don't make this a scene. Please leave." The words hit hard because they were plain, simple, direct, the kind only someone who had stopped seeing you as a person could say. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cling to the chair. Instead, I slid the chair back in quietly. 30 faces watched me. Some looked embarrassed. Some looked relieved I wasn't shouting. Sabrina looked satisfied. I untied the apron around my waist and folded it once. My hands were steady. I walked toward the front door. Every step felt slow, not because of hesitation, but because I wanted to stay in control of my body. When I reached the entryway, I turned around. Everyone waited. Aaron's jaw was tight. Sabrina lifted her chin as if she had finally fixed something. I looked at them all. My son, his wife, their guests, people sitting around a table I had prepared down to every detail. My voice stayed low and even. "Everyone," I said, "please enjoy the party." 6 simple words. No anger. No tears. No appeal. A woman near the end of the table put her hand over her mouth. Someone else whispered, "Oh my God." The room turned stiff and uncomfortable. Sabrina's smile broke for a second. Aaron's eyes flickered, unsure if he had pushed too far. I opened the door. Cold air touched my face. I stepped out and closed it gently behind me. No slam, no drama. Outside, the sun was almost gone. The porch light clicked on. I stood there for a moment, listening to the muffled silence behind the door. They didn't start talking again right away. The quiet told me everything. I walked down the front steps. The mums by the railing needed water. I had planned to fix them the next day. Now I wasn't sure I wanted to touch them at all. I reached the end of the walkway. I stopped and looked back at the house. The living room lights glowed through the windows. People moved inside, unsure what to do without me there. I realized something simple. I had hosted every Thanksgiving for 40 years, and tonight I wasn't considered part of the family sitting at my own table. My chest tightened, but I didn't break down. Not here. Not outside my house. A car pulled up across the street, another guest arriving late. She got out, looked at me, and smiled politely. "You must be the host," she said. "Beautiful house." I nodded once. "Yes, I'm the host." She walked inside. I stayed outside a little longer. The cold grounded me. I listened again. The laughter hadn't returned. The house felt different. Not warm, not familiar, not mine in that moment. I took a breath and went back inside. Not to the dining room, but to the hallway. I walked straight past the living room without looking at anyone. Their eyes followed me, but I didn't give them a word. I went upstairs to my bedroom and closed the door quietly. I didn't collapse. Not yet. That would come later. I just stood there, steady, my hands resting on the dresser. The room felt small, but safe. Downstairs, the voices tried to rise again, but kept dipping. The humiliation hung over the house like heavy air, not poetic, just real. This was the first time my son had ever pushed me out of something I built, and he did it in front of 30 people. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't rush back down there to defend myself. I stayed still because clarity works better than anger. They thought I would swallow this. They thought silence meant weakness. They had no idea what my silence meant. I sat on the edge of my bed. My breath steadied. I whispered to myself, I saw everything clearly. And I did. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not fatigue. This was not them protecting me. This was a decision they had already made. And I knew. This was only the beginning. I closed my bedroom door and locked it. Nobody followed. Nobody knocked. Nobody asked if I was okay. That silence told me exactly where I stood in my own home. I sat on the edge of the bed. My hands were tight in my lap. My chest felt heavy but steady. I said quietly, "He told me to get out. In my own house." That was the truth. Not dramatic, just the truth. I stood up and went to the closet. I pulled down the blue folder and set it on the bed. I opened it and took out the deed. My name, Aaron's name under it. I said, "I added you because I trusted you. You used it to push me aside." My eyes burned, but I didn't let it take over. Below the deed were 20 years of bills, repairs, taxes, home insurance. Every line had my signature. "All paid by me," I said. "Every year, every dollar." Downstairs, Sabrina laughed, loud, confident, the kind of laugh someone uses when they believe they've won. I looked at the floor and breathed once. Then I heard her voice, clear through the vent. "She should stay upstairs. She ruins the vibe." My jaw tightened. Aaron answered her quietly, but I still heard him. "She always makes things about herself. Tonight shouldn't be about her." I sat back down. "That's how you talk about me now," I said. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't punch anything. I didn't fall apart. I just listened. Sabrina said, "She's old, Aaron. She needs to accept it. Let her rest. We'll handle things from now on." Handle things. In my house. I stood and walked to the mirror. The hallway light cast a soft glow behind me. I looked at myself, hair silver, eyes tired, face calm. I said, "Old doesn't mean useless." Footsteps climbed the stairs. Aaron stopped outside my door. He didn't knock right away. Then, one short knock. "Mom." I didn't answer. "Are you still upset?" he asked. Still upset, as if what happened downstairs was small. I opened the door halfway. He looked uncomfortable, not sorry. "You need to come back down," he said. "People are asking why you disappeared." "I disappeared?" I asked. "Or did you tell me to leave?" He flinched. "Mom, you made it awkward." "I made it awkward?" I stepped closer. "You told me to get out of a table I prepared." He sighed and looked away. "Sabrina said you were tired. You shouldn't sit at the head of the table." I stared at him. "That seat has been mine for 40 years. He shrugged slightly. "She thinks it's outdated." There it was. Her voice again. Her rules. Her designs. I said, "And you agree?" He rubbed his forehead. "Mom, please don't start." "I'm not starting," I said. "I'm finally seeing." Sabrina's voice echoed from downstairs. "Is she coming or not? We don't have all day." Aaron stepped back and raised his voice so Sabrina could hear. "She's being dramatic." My hands went cold. I said quietly, "Get away from my door." He hesitated, then left without a word. I closed the door. Not slammed, just closed. I sat back on the bed and opened the folder again. Henry's picture slipped out. The one taken the summer he built the wooden clock. The clock Sabrina removed last year without asking. I held the picture and whispered, "You'd be disappointed." The front door opened downstairs, more guests leaving. Chairs moved, voices dropped. Then another line floated up clearly. "Sabrina. She should be grateful we still include her. Most people her age stay quiet and don't interfere." "Include me, in my own home." I said, "I heard you." Her voice stopped mid-sentence. Aaron whispered something I couldn't catch. Then Sabrina said sharply, "She acts like everything here is hers." Everything here is mine. I didn't even need to speak it. It was obvious. I stood up and placed the blue folder on the dresser. My hand rested on it for a moment. A memory hit me. Not emotional, just factual. Sabrina telling me last month, "You don't need to manage everything. Let younger people handle the house. You should focus on resting." Another memory, her telling Aaron, "Your mom doesn't understand modern houses. She's stuck in old ways." And Aaron agreeing, "She's getting older. It's time we step up." Step up. Or take over. Another memory, Sabrina saying, "You shouldn't carry boxes. You'll hurt yourself. Let us manage the heavy things." Then taking the box of legal papers from my hallway cabinet, by mistake. Not a mistake. A pattern. All the signs were there. Tonight only pushed it into the open. Outside my window, cars left slowly. The laughter faded. The house grew quiet. No one came up. Not Aaron. Not Sabrina. Not a single guest looked for me. I sat back down. The folder rested on my knees. My hands were steady now. I said, "You two think I'm powerless." I opened the deed again and stared at Aaron's name. Then Sabrina's voice drifted upward one more time, sharp and irritated. "She should be grateful she even lives here. She can't handle a big place alone." That was it. I stood up and spoke out loud to the empty room. "Every endurance has a limit." I walked to the window again. The mums were still standing outside, untouched. The yard was quiet. My breathing slowed. Downstairs, the dishwasher started. Light footsteps moved to the living room. The TV clicked on. Aaron and Sabrina didn't check on me. Didn't knock again. Didn't care. I whispered, "Noted." I placed the folder on the nightstand, changed into comfortable clothes, and sat on the bed. I didn't cry again. I didn't shake. I didn't replay every word. I stated the facts. They humiliated me. They dismissed me. They talked about me like I was a burden. They want control of this house. And then I said the line that mattered most. I'm done pretending I don't see it. I turned off the lamp and lay down with the folder beside me. Not defeated, not broken, just awake. This wasn't collapse. This was the moment I stopped giving them the benefit of the doubt. And from this point on, every step I took would be deliberate. Aaron knocked the next morning, a soft knock, not a worried one, more like a formality. "Mom," he said, "we're having cake. Come downstairs." I opened the door just enough to see his face. He didn't look sorry, just annoyed. "No," I said. He blinked. "Why not?" "You told me to get out of my own table. That was enough for one night." He shifted his weight like a child caught doing something stupid. "Sabrina said you overreacted." I stared at him. "That's your takeaway?" He sighed. "Mom, you embarrassed us in front of everyone." I stepped closer. "I embarrassed you? You ordered me to leave the table I set at 5 in the morning." He swallowed. "Sabrina said—" "There it is," I said. "Sabrina said." His eyes tightened, but he didn't deny it. Behind him, I heard her voice from the hallway. "Is she coming or not? We don't have time for this." Aaron glanced back nervously. "Just come down. She's trying to keep things smooth." "Smooth for who?" I asked. He didn't answer. I closed the door in his face. Not hard, just final. I sat on the bed for a moment, then stood and walked to the dresser. My hand brushed over the blue folder from last night. Just touching it reminded me of the pattern I had ignored for too long. A flashback hit. Not emotional, just factual. 3 years ago, when Sabrina first moved in, she stepped into the house and said, "Oh, this decor is old-fashioned. We need to update everything." Not we. She. Aaron laughed, embarrassed. "Mom likes it this way." Sabrina smiled thinly. Not for long. 2 weeks later, the framed photos I kept in the hallway were gone. I asked Aaron, "Where are the pictures?" Sabrina answered for him. "I put them away. They clutter the space." Clutter. Pictures of my family. Aaron mumbled, "It looks cleaner now." Another memory surfaced. My sewing room. I walked in after grocery shopping and found the boxes moved, the machine unplugged, the fabric folded into bins I didn't buy. Sabrina stood in the middle of the room, holding a paint swatch. "I'm making this a yoga space," she said. "Your sewing stuff takes up too much room." I said, "That's my workspace." She smiled. "But you barely use it, right?" Aaron stood behind her, silent. He didn't defend me. He didn't question her. He just let her take it. The next morning, my sewing machine was pushed against the wall like it didn't matter. Another memory, the wooden clock Henry built. I walked downstairs one afternoon and noticed the wall was bare. I asked, "Where's the clock?" Sabrina didn't even pause. "Oh, that old thing? It didn't fit the style. I donated it." I felt the air leave my chest. "That clock was from my husband. He made it." She shrugged. "It was just a clock." Aaron didn't say a word. He didn't even look at me. Back to the present. I stood still, staring at the dresser, hearing her voice echo. "It was just a clock," I whispered. "You minimized everything that mattered to me." Another knock. Sabrina this time. She didn't wait for permission. She opened the door halfway. Her eyes scanned the room, cold and confident. "We need to talk," she said. I didn't move. "About what?" "About last night," she replied. "You embarrassed Aaron. People noticed. You need to control your reactions." I stared at her. She continued, "You're older. That means you should know how to behave. Don't make scenes." My jaw tightened. "You humiliated me." She scoffed. "No one humiliated you. You're sensitive. That's not my fault." I said nothing. Silence made her impatient. She looked at the blue folder on the dresser and smirked. "You keep clinging to paperwork and memories. You should let younger people handle real decisions." I took a step forward. "What decision are you trying to handle, Sabrina?" She blinked once. Then she smiled. That same fake, polite smile she'd used for years. "I'm only trying to help you," she said. "You're getting older. This house is too much for you." "That's not your decision," I said. She crossed her arms. "Someone has to make responsible choices. If you can't, then Aaron and I will." There it was, plain, direct, not even subtle. I said, "You've been moving things around this house since the day you walked in." "It needed improvement," she said. "I know what a modern home should look like." "It's my home." "For now," she whispered. She said it so quietly she probably thought I wouldn't catch it. But I did. I repeated, "For now?" She smiled again. "Don't overthink it. You do that too much." She turned to leave, but I stepped forward. "You took my husband's clock," I said. She shrugged. "I already told you, it was old." "And my sewing room," I said. "It was wasted space. And the photos. They looked cheap." My voice dropped. "You've been replacing me in my own house." She tilted her head. "If that's how you want to see it, that's your problem." She walked away without waiting for another word. I stood in the doorway, watching her go down the stairs. Her steps were light, confident, like she already owned everything she touched. Aaron's voice floated up. "Is she still being difficult?" Sabrina replied, "She'll calm down. She always does." Not this time. I closed my bedroom door and sat on the bed again. For years, I told myself I was imagining things, that she was careless, not calculated, that Aaron was distracted, not dismissive. But now, they were careless with their words, careless with their intentions, careless with respect. They weren't hiding anymore, and I wasn't pretending anymore. This was the first crack. The moment the mask dropped, they thought they were tightening their control. They didn't realize they had just given me everything I needed, the truth. I got to the county office at 11:12 a.m. I asked for a copy of the property record. The clerk printed it, slid it across the counter, and said, "Ma'am, your file was updated last week." I looked down. The names Aaron Hartley and Sabrina Hartley were listed under pending transfer review. My name was still there, but theirs had been added. I kept my voice steady. "Who submitted this?" The clerk checked the screen. "Digital upload. Signed. It says you authorized it." "I didn't." He turned the monitor so I could see. A scanned signature. My name. Not my writing. Not even close. He lowered his voice. "You may want to file a fraud alert." "I already planned to," I said. He printed a verification sheet. "Do you know the two people listed?" "Yes," I said. "Very well." I took the documents and walked out. No shaking, no panic, just clarity. They had moved from pressure to action. Without me. Behind my back. Using my name. I called Harris, the lawyer, before I even reached the car. He answered on the first ring. "Helen? I need a revocation packet," I said. "Immediate." "Did something happen?" "They filed a transfer," I said. "Unauthorized." He didn't waste time. "Come in now." I arrived at his office at 12:02 p.m. He looked through the papers, expression unchanged. "It's clear fraud," he said. "We'll revoke everything. Today." "I want every route blocked." "You'll have it." He printed forms, revocation of authority, fraud alert, emergency freeze preparation. He read the first page aloud. "This removes anyone from touching your property, finances, or decisions. Permanently." "Good," I said. "Start with that." He gave me a pen. I signed once, then twice, then on the final line. He slid the completed packet into a blue folder. "The county will process this within hours. After that, no transfer can go through without your physical presence." "Perfect." Harris leaned back. "This wasn't spontaneous. Someone planned this." "I know who planned it," I said. "And I know what they want." He looked at me. "You need to be ready for confrontation." "I already am." I left the office at 1:30 p.m., stopped by the bank, placed an alert on my accounts, changed all access rules. By 2:10 p.m., every door they tried to open would slam in their faces. That evening, I came home early. The kitchen lights were on. Sabrina stood at the counter, humming, cutting fruit like she lived there. Aaron was on the couch, laptop open, papers nearby. Both looked up when I walked in. Aaron smiled too quickly. "Mom, you're home earlier than usual." "Clearly," I said. He shifted. "We were just going over some things. House stuff." "House stuff?" I repeated. Sabrina spoke first. "Yes, we need you to sign a few updates later, just routine." My tone didn't change. "What kind of updates?" She smiled. "Nothing major. Just keeping things organized since the house is, a lot for someone your age." "That's not what the county office showed me," I said. Aaron froze. "What?" I laid the county printout on the counter. Sabrina stepped forward. "What is this?" "Your attempt," I said. "Filed last week, both of your names, under my property." Aaron's voice cracked. "Mom, we were just helping." "Don't lie," I said. Sabrina snatched the paper and scanned it quickly. "This is taken out of context." "No," I said. "This is exactly the context." She tried again, louder. "You're overreacting. We only submitted preliminary paperwork. It wasn't final." "You submitted a forged signature." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. It's just paperwork. Everyone does it. You were going to sign anyway." "I wasn't," I said. Aaron stood up. "Mom, calm down. You're misunderstanding." "No," I said. "For once, I'm understanding everything." Sabrina crossed her arms, annoyed instead of sorry. "You should be grateful. We're trying to take the load off you. This house is too big, too expensive. We're trying to protect you. By stealing from me? I said. It's not stealing, she snapped. It's practical. You don't need this place. We do. Aaron stepped closer. Mom, it's for your own good. Stop, I said. Don't use that line with me. The room changed. Aaron looked small. Sabrina looked angry. I stayed still. Sabrina leaned forward. You should have told us if you didn't understand the legal process. I understand it better than you think, she scoffed. You're old, Helen. You don't know how modern property management works. Let people who actually know handle it. That includes forging my name? That includes doing what you can't, she said, eyebrows raised. And honestly, you should thank us. At least we're keeping the house in the family. I looked straight at her. It's not yours to keep. She shot back, It will be. Aaron tried to grab her arm. Stop. No, she said. She needs to hear it. We already started the process. You living here alone doesn't make sense. We're stepping in before something happens. Something already happened, I said. You crossed a line. Sabrina shrugged. Lines move. Not mine. I took the printout back, folded it cleanly, put it in my bag. Aaron's voice trembled. Mom, why are you acting like this is a fight? Because it is, I said. Sabrina let out a sharp laugh. You can't win against paperwork, Helen. It's already in motion. Not anymore. She frowned. What do you mean? I revoked everything, I said. Today. Aaron blinked. What? No transfers, no updates, no signature authority. Nothing goes through without me. Not one page. Sabrina's face tightened. You didn't. I did. She stepped forward. You think that will stop us? It already has. Silence. Aaron looked shaken, his voice small. Mom, what are you planning? Protection, I said. What you should have chosen instead of greed. I turned away from them, walked upstairs. Their voices followed, panicked, sharp, frantic. I didn't answer. Tonight, they learned I wasn't confused. I wasn't slow. I wasn't scared. I was done. That night, the house was too quiet. I sat in my room with the blue folder open on my lap, county records on the left, my real signature on the right. I needed proof, not feelings. Proof. At 9:14 p.m., I called Harris. He answered immediately. Helen? I need audio, I said. Clean, direct, their real intentions. Yes. Record only conversations you're part of. Clear verbal consent. Keep everything. I will. After the call, I walked into the hallway. Aaron and Sabrina were in their room. Their door wasn't shut all the way. Voices slipped through the crack. I knocked once. Can you both come out a moment? Aaron opened the door. He looked tired. Sabrina didn't bother hiding her annoyance. What now? She asked. I want to clear a few things up, I said. And I want everything on record. Sabrina smirked. Record? Seriously? Yes, I said. I want verbal confirmation of what you want from me, so we understand each other. Aaron hesitated. Sabrina didn't. Fine, she said. Go ahead. We have nothing to hide. I pulled out my phone and held it where they could see. This is being recorded, I said. Agreed? Aaron nodded softly. Sabrina rolled her eyes. Agreed. Now speak. I kept my voice flat. What exactly are you expecting me to sign? Sabrina answered instantly. The transfer papers. Full transfer. It's simple. Aaron jumped in. It's just temporary, Mom. No, she cut him off. We need the deed clean. No split names, no shared ownership. Clean. Aaron swallowed. Sabrina? She ignored him. We can't refinance with your name still on it, she said. So yes, we need full ownership. That's standard. I asked, and what am I supposed to get in return? Sabrina laughed under her breath. A place to stay, food, utilities. What else do you expect? I let the silence stretch. Then I said, so I give you the house. You give me... What? A spare room? Aaron's voice cracked. Mom, don't make it sound like that. How should I make it sound? I asked. Sabrina's tone turned sharp. You're 67, Helen. This is normal. Families consolidate assets. We're doing the responsible thing. For whom? I asked. For everyone, she snapped. We need a bigger place. You don't. You're living in a museum. Aaron looked down. I lifted the phone a little higher. So the plan is, I sign everything, and you take full control of the property? Yes, Sabrina said. Exactly. And the house will be used for what? My family, she said. Jordan's parents, his sister, anyone who needs a place. And me? You'll be taken care of, she said. We're not monsters. I didn't respond. Sabrina sighed, annoyed. Look, it's simple. The house becomes ours and we handle the responsibilities. You just live your last years peacefully. Aaron flinched at her wording. I didn't. Last question, I said. Why are you rushing? Sabrina didn't bother hiding it anymore. Because we're drowning, Helen. Bills, debts, repairs. We need collateral. Your house solves everything. Aaron closed his eyes. I ended the recording and put the phone in my pocket. Sabrina crossed her arms. Happy now? Yes, I said. Very. I walked past them, back toward my room. But the night wasn't done. Around 10 p.m., I heard arguing downstairs. I turned on the voice memo again and walked quietly down the steps. Aaron's voice. Why did you say all that? Sabrina hissed back. Because it's the truth. We need the house. She doesn't. You don't have to be so harsh. She's old. She should be grateful we're stepping up. Then the one sentence that cut through the house. She'll sign anything if you push her right. Tell her it's taxes or insurance. She signs whatever you put in front of her. I stepped onto the last stair. Both of them froze. Sabrina stared at me like I wasn't supposed to be standing there. I held up the phone. You said that on a recorded line, I said. Aaron's face drained of color. Mom, I asked for your real intentions, I said, and you gave them to me. Sabrina marched forward. You don't understand how any of this works. You're overreacting. No, I said. I'm documenting. She scoffed. For what? Court? Don't be ridiculous. Ridiculous? I repeated. You tried to steal a house that doesn't belong to you. Aaron whispered, Sabrina, stop. She didn't. It's not stealing. You're old, Helen. You shouldn't be managing property. We're doing what's practical. You keep saying practical, I said. That's the word people use when they're ashamed to say selfish. She stepped back. I don't have to listen to this. I spoke clearly. You have no authority, no right, no title, no signature, no claim. Sabrina's lips tightened. We'll see. Aaron finally looked at me. Mom, what happens now? I answered the same way Harris had said earlier. Documentation, then action. I turned off the recorder, walked upstairs, closed my door. Inside, I sat at the edge of the bed, not crying, not shaking, just sorting facts. They wanted full ownership. They were willing to lie for it, forge signatures, pressure, manipulate. And now, I had their exact words. At 11:02 p.m., my phone lit up with a text from Harris. Evidence looks solid. Tomorrow we file emergency freeze. I typed only one reply. Do it. I placed the blue folder beside the lamp, set my phone on top, and lay down. For the first time since Thanksgiving morning, I slept without fear. Not because things were better, but because now I knew exactly what they were. The next morning, I was at Harris's office before it opened. When he unlocked the door, I walked straight in and placed the blue folder on his desk. He sat down, opened it, and scanned the pages with steady eyes. After a minute, he said, "Tell me everything that happened last night." I handed him my phone, all recorded, with verbal consent. He pressed play. The room stayed silent except for Sabrina's voice. "We need the deed clean. Make her sign anything. She signs whatever you put in front of her. We're drowning. Her house solves everything." Harris stopped the audio. That's enough. I sat across from him, hands still, mind clear. What are my options? I asked. He leaned back. 3 moves, and we'll use all of them. Go on. He pointed to the deed copy. First, the name addition years ago, when you added Aaron out of goodwill. It's considered a gift add-on. In this state, a gift can be revoked if the recipient shows significant ingratitude or attempts coercion. I looked him in the eye. Does what they did qualify? He nodded once, easily. Next. Second, civil damages. The forged paperwork attempt and their recorded intent to deceive you form a basis for a claim. Financial harm, emotional distress, attempted property theft. We can file immediately. I didn't flinch. File it. We will, he said. Third, and most important, we request an emergency freeze on all property actions. It prevents any transfer, refinance, or sale that they're planning behind your back. How fast? Today. I nodded. What do you need from me? Signature and payment. The filing costs plus my retainer come to $25,000. That's almost everything I have, I said. Yes, he replied. But it protects the house and it stops them cold. If we don't act now, you risk losing everything. I didn't hesitate. Bring the papers. He slid the forms across the desk. I read line by line. No assumptions, no trust based on years, only facts. Then I signed. Harris tapped the folder. Once these are filed, they can't move anything. No lawyer can override it. No refinance can bypass it. Good, I said. He continued, his tone firm. Your son's involvement complicates it emotionally, but legally it simplifies the case. He benefited from your trust. Now we revoke that trust on paper. He let her direct him, I said. That doesn't erase the attempt, he replied. I stayed quiet. Harris folded his hands. Helen, listen carefully. You acted correctly. You didn't confront them violently. You collected evidence. You came here before they could escalate. I met his gaze. What happens when they find out? They'll panic, he said. Let them. That's all? That's all you need. I stood. File everything today. I will. Expect the freeze order tonight. Before I left, he added, one more thing. Keep your distance from them. No arguments, no explanations. Let the documents speak. I understand. I walked out of the office with the receipts and a stamped copy of the filings. My bank would see the freeze notice within hours, the county within the day. Outside the air was cold, but my head was steady. On the way home, Aaron texted, Mom, can we talk today? I didn't reply. I checked my email at a red light. Harris had already sent confirmation. Case submitted, revocation, civil claim, emergency freeze. By the time I reached my street, the decision was behind me. There was nothing left to discuss with them until the law finished its part. When I walked inside, Sabrina was in the living room on her laptop. She looked up. You left early. Yes, I said. For what? Business. She stared, trying to read something from my face, but finding nothing. Dinner's at 6, she said sharply. Don't be late. I didn't answer. I went upstairs and placed the stamped filings in my drawer beside Henry's wooden clock. At 5:02 p.m., my phone buzzed. Harris. Freeze order approved. Delivered to county, bank, and both parties. I typed a single word back. Received. Downstairs, I heard Sabrina's phone ding. Then again, then a third time. A chair scraped, footsteps paced, paper rustled. Then her voice, sharp and rattled. What the hell is this? Aaron's voice followed, confused. What happened? A freeze order, on the house. She froze the house. I stayed in my room, calm. Their panic was expected, predictable. Aaron yelled up the stairs. Mom, what did you do? I opened my door just enough. Protected what's mine. Sabrina snapped. You can't just do things like this. You can't freeze assets we need. It's not yours, I said. It was never yours. Aaron sounded hurt. Why didn't you talk to me? I tried, I said. You didn't listen. Silence spread through the hallway. Sabrina exploded. "You're ruining everything we planned!" "You planned theft," I said. "I chose the law." She stomped backward, furious. "This isn't over." "It is for tonight," I said. I closed my door gently, not slamming it. I didn't need noise to prove anything. At 6:47 p.m., Harris sent one final message. "They can't touch the deed, the title, the loan, or any refinance. All actions blocked." I placed the phone on my nightstand. The strike was complete. Quiet, clean, legal, exactly the way I wanted. That night, the house felt different. Not quiet, tense. Someone was pacing downstairs. Someone else kept opening and closing drawers. I didn't go down. At 9:11 p.m., there was a knock on my bedroom door. Not gentle, not respectful, sharp. I opened it halfway. Aaron and Sabrina stood there. Sabrina held a thick envelope. Aaron held nothing, just the look of a man who already regretted being part of this. Sabrina pushed the envelope toward me. "Here, you need to sign these." I didn't take it. "What are they?" "Tax simplification," she said, too quickly. "Routine paperwork. We're fixing some things with the county." I looked at Aaron. He avoided my eyes. I stepped aside just enough for them to walk in. No invitation, just space. Sabrina placed the envelope on my dresser and said, "Open it." I did. Inside were property transfer forms, not partial, not temporary, full transfer. "Explain this," I said. Aaron swallowed. "It's easier if the house is under our names. Less paperwork, Mom." Sabrina cut in immediately. "Don't overthink it. Just sign. It's nothing." I read the first page again, slowly. "This line says full ownership," I said. "It's the standard wording," Sabrina snapped. "Everyone uses that." "No," I said. "Everyone doesn't." Aaron's voice shook. "Mom, please. It's just paperwork." I handed the envelope back to Sabrina. "I won't sign anything." Her smile dropped. "What did you say?" "I won't sign," I repeated. She stepped forward. "You're making this difficult. This was supposed to be simple." "Simple for who?" I asked. "For all of us," she said, raising her voice. "You get taken care of, we handle the responsibilities. Why is that so hard for you?" I stayed still. "You tried to hide the purpose of these papers." She threw her hands up. "Oh my God, Helen, you're acting like we're criminals." I didn't blink. "You forged my signature yesterday." Aaron's face turned white. "Sabrina, did you—" She cut him off. "Don't start. She doesn't know what she's talking about." I opened the blue folder on my nightstand and held up the county copy. "Your handwriting, your spelling mistake, your attempt." Sabrina stiffened. Aaron whispered, "You forged her name?" "Shut up," she hissed. I spoke clearly. "I hired a lawyer this morning." The room froze. Sabrina stared at me like she had misheard. "A lawyer?" "Yes." "For what?" "For everything you attempted to do." Aaron whispered, "Mom." "Which lawyer?" "Mr. Harris." Aaron looked away. He knew the name. Everyone in town knew Harris didn't take cases he couldn't win. Sabrina's voice cracked with anger. "You went behind our backs?" "No," I said. "You went behind mine." She pointed at the papers. "You have to sign. Do you understand? You have to." "I don't," I replied, "and I won't." Sabrina stepped so close I could feel her breath. "Do you want to destroy this family?" I stayed calm. "You destroyed it the moment you tried to steal from me." She laughed once, a sharp, bitter sound. "Steal? You don't even use half this house. You're old, Helen. You should be grateful anyone still wants to take care of you." Aaron winced. I didn't raise my voice. "Sabrina, you're leaving my room now." She didn't move. "You think this is over? You think some old lawyer can stop us?" "He already did," I said. Aaron whispered, "What does that mean?" I looked at him directly. "The house is frozen. Every action you planned is blocked." Sabrina spun toward him. "What freeze?" "Ask the court notice you received this afternoon," I said. She grabbed her phone, checked the email, and her face twisted in panic. "This is illegal," she yelled. "No," I said. "What you did was." Aaron ran a hand through his hair. "Mom, please. Can we talk about this tomorrow?" "No, the discussion ends here." Sabrina glared at me as if she could burn holes through my skin. "You're making a huge mistake." "No," I said. "I corrected one." I opened my bedroom door. "Out." Aaron hesitated. "Mom." "Out," I repeated. He walked out slowly, head down. Sabrina followed, furious, shaking. Before I closed the door, she turned back. "This isn't finished. You can't fight us." I met her eyes. I already did. I shut the door. One click. No drama, no shaking hands. I locked it and sat on the bed. Below me, the arguing started. Sharp, angry, loud. Sabrina blaming Aaron, Aaron blaming her, both blaming me. I didn't move. Harris's words replayed in my mind. "Once we begin, there's no going back." I wasn't going back. Not tonight. Not again. The next morning, the house wasn't quiet. It was unsettled. Cabinets slammed. Footsteps rushed. Someone was crying downstairs. At 7:42 a.m., Sabrina screamed. Not a normal scream. A rage-filled one. I walked out of my room slowly. Sabrina stood in the foyer, holding a letter with a red header. Aaron stood next to her, pale. She waved the paper in the air. "What is this?" I stayed on the stairs, one hand on the railing. "A notice," I said. "From the court." She shook it at Aaron's face. "Asset freeze? This can't happen. They froze everything." Aaron whispered, "Sabrina, calm down." She spun on him. "Don't tell me to calm down. Do you understand what this means? We can't touch the accounts. We can't finish the transfer. We can't do anything." Aaron looked at me like he didn't recognize me. "Mom, did you request this?" "Yes," I said. He swallowed hard. "You froze the house?" "I froze every asset tied to it." Sabrina stomped toward the staircase. "You petty old woman, you think you can control everything?" I held my phone up. The screen was recording. "Say whatever you need to say. I prefer it recorded." Aaron grabbed her arm. "Sabrina, stop." She jerked away. "No, she wants war? Fine." I walked down 2 steps, calm and steady. "You tried to take my house," I said. "This is the consequence." Her voice cracked. "You ruined our plans," I corrected her. "I stopped your plans." Sabrina turned to Aaron. "Do something! Say something! She can't do this!" Aaron rubbed his forehead. This is serious, Sabrina. This is court-level serious." She threw the notice at him. "We needed this house. We needed that loan. We needed—" She stopped when she saw my phone still recording. I reached the bottom of the stairs and placed a second envelope on the entry table. "Your mail," I said. Sabrina stared at it with pure hatred. "What now?" "An eviction notice," I answered. 30 days. Aaron blinked. "Eviction? For who?" "For both of you." Sabrina froze. "You're kicking us out?" "Yes." Aaron shook his head, shocked. "Mom, you can't just—" "I can," I said. "And I already filed the paperwork." Sabrina lunged forward like she wanted to rip the paper. "You're out of your mind! This isn't your house!" I looked her straight in the eye. "It is." She laughed, loud, desperate. "The deed is still under Aaron's name." "The revocation process already started," I replied. "His name will be removed." Aaron looked sick. "Sabrina, what did we do?" She shoved him. "We? You signed the forms with me." "No," I said. "You forged mine. You misled him. You pushed every step." Aaron's voice broke. "Mom, I didn't want to hurt you." "You did," I said, "and you'll deal with that in your own time." Sabrina clenched her teeth so hard her jaw shook. "You think you won? You think this is over?" "It's not about winning," I said. "It's about protecting what's mine." She stepped closer, pointing a trembling finger at me. "You want me gone? Fine. I'll leave." Aaron whispered, "Sabrina, let's talk first." She cut him off. "No, I'm not staying here another second." She stomped up the stairs, grabbed 2 bags, and shoved past him on her way down. She slapped her hand against the front door. "You'll regret this, Helen." I unlocked the door. "Goodbye, Sabrina." She stormed out, slamming it behind her so hard the frame shook. The house went silent. Aaron stood in the middle of the foyer, still holding the eviction notice. His hands trembled. He looked around like the walls were closing in. "Mom," he whispered, "what happens now?" "You stay," I said, "until you figure out who you want to be." He sank onto the bottom stair. "I didn't know it would go this far." "You didn't stop it," I replied. He didn't argue. Down the hall, the lace curtains moved with the draft from the slammed door. The house, for the first time in months, felt like it recognized me again. Aaron wiped his face with both hands. "She's really gone," he whispered. "For now," I said. "But she made her choice." He looked up at me, broken. "I don't know what to do." "You start by telling the truth," I said. "To yourself first." Aaron nodded slowly. He pressed the eviction notice against his chest. I turned toward the kitchen. "I'll make coffee," I said. "We talk after." He didn't move, just sat there, the son who finally saw the result of every wrong step he took. I didn't comfort him. I didn't touch his shoulder. I let the silence do the work. The freeze had hit them harder than any argument could, and it was only the beginning. Aaron came back that evening. No warning, no call. He just showed up at my door, standing there like he didn't know where he was. I opened it and stepped aside. He walked in slowly, as if the air in the house was heavier than usual. He didn't sit. He didn't take off his coat. "Mom, I need to talk," he said. I nodded. "Go ahead." He stared at the floor. "I talked to Sabrina." His voice was thin, almost cracking. "I'm listening." He swallowed hard. "She said you're trying to break our marriage, that you're poisoning me against her." I didn't blink. "Is that what you think?" He looked up. His eyes were red. "I don't know what to think. Everything is falling apart. She's angry. She's saying things. I don't know what's real." I kept my tone steady. "Then ask direct questions. Stop standing in the fog." He sat down like his legs gave out. "Mom, did you talk to Leonard?" "Yes." His head jerked up. "Why? Why would you do that?" "Because your wife's story had holes, and because you kept defending someone who treated you like an option." Aaron ran a hand over his face. "He told you I wasn't the only one, that she was seeing other options. He said she'd been distant, and he hinted it wasn't the first time." He shook his head. "Mom, I didn't want to believe it. I still don't know if I can." "Then listen to her actions," I answered calmly. "Not my words, not his words, hers." He stared at me, breathing hard. "Mom, I found her messages." "Good," I said. "Now read them without excuses." He pulled out his phone with shaking hands and scrolled. She said she's tired of carrying me. She said being with me makes her feel stuck. And she said," his voice broke, "she said you were her biggest obstacle, that you keep me tied down." I didn't react. "Anything else?" He wiped his eyes roughly. "She told her friend that if she stayed with me, she'd end up like a caregiver to a grown man." My voice stayed cold. So she finally said the quiet part out loud. "Mom," he whispered, "why didn't you tell me earlier?" "You weren't ready to listen," I replied. "You defended her before I even opened my mouth." He looked at me helplessly. "What am I supposed to do now?" "Face the truth," I said, keeping my tone flat. "She didn't trip into this. She walked." Aaron shook his head slowly. "She blocked me. After everything. She blocked me." "That tells you everything." He took a deep breath as if the air hurt. "She emptied her side of the closet, the drawers, even the bathroom cabinet. She took all her things. She didn't leave a note. Nothing." I nodded once. She was already gone, Aaron. You're just seeing it now. He clenched his jaw. I loved her. That's clear, I said. But love is a two-person job. You carried it alone. He closed his eyes, steadying himself. I don't know who I am without her. I leaned forward slightly. That's part of the problem. You let her define everything. He didn't argue. He just sat there, shoulders low, like something in him had snapped clean. After a long silence, he whispered, Mom, why didn't she fight for our marriage? Why didn't she try? She didn't need to, I said plainly. She already found what she wanted somewhere else. Aaron winced like the words hit him directly, but he didn't deny it. She told her friend she'd outgrown us, he said, voice shaking. Us, not just me. You too. I nodded. That was predictable. He looked up again. You're not surprised? No, I answered. People like her don't hide forever. They slip, and when they do, everything shows. Aaron pressed his hands against his forehead. I feel stupid. You're not stupid, I said. You were loyal. She used that. He swallowed. Mom, I'm scared of what happens now. You rebuild, I said simply. One step at a time. No begging, no chasing, no trying to fix what she broke. He nodded slowly, trying to steady his breath. Then he looked at me with something different in his eyes, fear mixed with something like shame. Mom, did Sabrina try anything with the house? Or with you? She tried, I said, and she failed. He froze. Tried what? To interfere where she had no place, to push boundaries she didn't own, to push you into taking things from me. He went pale. Mom, I didn't know she was doing that. She never told me. I know, I said. She made sure you stayed blind. Aaron sat back, breathing hard. Is that why you froze the house? No, I corrected calmly. I froze the house because you both crossed a line. He flinched. I didn't mean to. I didn't ask if you meant to, I cut in. I said you crossed it. He sat in silence. After a moment, he said quietly, Mom, I want to fix this. Good, I answered. Start by being honest. Starting now. He nodded. Then you should know something. I waited. He took a breath. Leonard wasn't her first. I didn't move. How long? Aaron swallowed. She saw someone before him, a coworker. It was short. She said it was nothing. I forgave her. Of course you did, I said. And then, he whispered, she said she wasn't sure she wanted kids with someone like me. Someone like you, I repeated coldly. Did you ask what that meant? She said I didn't have enough ambition, that I was too attached to you, that I couldn't give her the lifestyle she wanted. And you tried harder, I said. He nodded, ashamed. I kept my tone level. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a ladder. Aaron's voice was small. I think she was planning to leave. I think she was waiting for something. Or someone. Now you know, I said. Use it. He looked at me, eyes clearer this time. Mom, thank you for not yelling at me. I don't yell, I replied. I deal with facts. He nodded again. What do I do next? You stand up, I said, and then you stay standing. He wiped his face with his sleeve. I'm not ready. No one is, I said. But you will be, because now you finally see. He drew a shaky breath. Mom, I don't deserve your help. Maybe not, I said, tone even. But you needed the truth. He lowered his head. I'm sorry. Good, I answered. Now show it. Aaron exhaled slowly. Okay. Then go home, I said, and let everything fall where it needs to. He stood up slowly. Before leaving, he said one last thing. Mom, whatever happens next, I'm done being blind. I nodded once. See clearly, that's the first step. And he left, quiet, shaken, but finally awake. Aaron came back the next morning. He looked worse, less sleep, less color in his face, more truth on his shoulders. He didn't even step inside. "Mom, I found something else." I opened the door wider. "Then come in and say it." And he walked in slowly, holding his phone like it was burning his hand. "I need you to see this," he said. I sat down. "Show me." He opened a folder, screenshots, receipts, photos. His voice was flat. These were on Sabrina's cloud. She forgot to log out of our shared laptop. I didn't speak. He scrolled. "There are hotel bookings, different cities, different names, same timing as when she said she had work events." He scrolled again. "Here. This one was the week I worked double shifts. She told me she was visiting her sister." "And where was she?" I asked calmly. He swallowed. "At a hotel with Leonard." I nodded once. "Keep going." He hesitated, but he kept scrolling. "This receipt. She bought jewelry. Expensive. She never wore it around me." "For who?" I asked. He showed another photo, a picture of Sabrina in a mirror, wearing the necklace, a man's hand on her waist, not Aaron's. Aaron whispered, "That's not Leonard. That's someone else." I didn't move. "How many?" He breathed out. 3, maybe 4. I stopped counting. I kept my voice steady. "Then you finally understand the truth." He shook his head slowly. "Mom, how long has she been like this?" "That's her pattern," I said, "not your timeline." He put the phone down. "She used me." "Yes." "She used you." "Yes." He looked at me like he wanted to apologize again, but the words wouldn't come. Then he wiped his face with his sleeve. "Mom, I found something worse." "Say it." She had a folder labeled Plan. My tone didn't change. "Open it." He opened the folder. It was full of messages, conversations, notes she had written to herself. Aaron read aloud, voice shaking. "Aaron is too attached to his mother. He won't leave unless pressured. If I push the overwhelm angle, he'll see the house is too much for Helen. Use exhaustion. Make it sound like caretaking. Once Helen moves out, control the paperwork fast." He stopped reading. His jaw clenched, his face turned white. "Mom, she laid out every step." "I know," I said. "You knew?" "I saw the signs. You didn't." He shook his head in disbelief. "She planned to take this house from you." "She planned to take everything," I corrected. He sat down like his legs couldn't hold him. "Mom, I can't believe I defended her. I can't believe I sided with her over you." "You believed your wife," I said. "That was your mistake." He nodded weakly. "And she wrote this." He scrolled to another note. "Once Aaron has the house, push for joint title. If he resists, lawyer friend can speed process. Helen won't fight. Older women want peace. Get her out before winter." Aaron looked at me, devastated. "She thought you were weak." "She miscalculated," I said. He kept reading. "If Helen refuses, make it look like concern. Use safety and fall risk. If necessary, get her doctor involved. Ask about cognitive decline." Aaron froze. "She wanted to get a doctor to say you're losing your mind." "That is a common tactic," I replied. "Families do it all the time." He swallowed. No. She wouldn't go that far." "She would," I said. "And she did." He covered his mouth with his hands. "Mom, Sabrina tried to build a case to take legal control of you." "Yes." He paced the room, rubbing his eyes like he wanted to claw the truth away. "She said she loved me. She kept saying she loved me. She loved what she could take." He stopped pacing. Then he whispered, "Mom, there's more." I waited. He showed me a text from Sabrina to her friend. "Once the house is settled, I'm gone. He's too emotional. I just need the title secured." Aaron's voice cracked. "She was going to leave me right after she got the house." "Yes." He sat down again. He didn't speak. His breathing was uneven. Then he asked quietly, "Mom, did she come here yesterday?" "Yes." "What did she say?" She told me you were dragging her down. He stared at me. She said you were not enough, I continued. She said she deserved better. Aaron looked like he'd been punched. I didn't soften it. She said she didn't want a man with baggage. She meant you. He closed his eyes. His voice was small. Why didn't she tell me the truth? Because she never intended to stay. She intended to take. The room was silent for a moment. Then Aaron asked, Mom, what do I do now? You stop covering for her. He nodded once, painfully. Then he sat up straighter, almost like the truth was forcing him to grow an inch. Mom, I need to ask you something. I looked at him. If she comes back, if she tries to fix things, if she shows up crying, she will, I said. He swallowed. What do I do? You close the door. He breathed out slowly. It wasn't relief. It was acceptance. Then he whispered, She took everything I believed in. No, I corrected. She took everything you let her take. He didn't argue. After a long silence, he said, I'm done letting her define me. Good, I said. Then look at the last file. He glanced at me. What is it? The financials. He opened the document. His eyes widened. What is this? A list, I said. Every dollar she moved, every time she pressured you, every time she manipulated you into giving her money. Aaron scrolled down the list. It was long. Mom, she drained me. She tried to drain me too. He nodded, shaking but stronger. Finally, he asked, Does she know you froze the house? No. He looked at me with something like respect mixed with fear. Mom, you were always 10 steps ahead, weren't you? Yes. He closed the phone. Thank you for saving me from myself. I didn't save you, I said. You just finally saw. He took a breath. Mom, I'm not done fighting. Good, I said, because the last layer hasn't fallen yet. He frowned. What do you mean? Sabrina has one more secret, I said quietly, and it's about you. Aaron stared at me, terrified. Get ready, I said. You're about to hear it. Aaron came back that evening, not as a husband, not as a son asking for comfort, but as a man who finally understood the cost of his choices. He stood at my door for a long moment before knocking. I opened it slowly. He looked exhausted, eyes red, shirt wrinkled. He said only one sentence. Mom, I think I know the last secret. I stepped aside. Then sit down and say it. He came into the kitchen, the only place I allowed him now. Not the dining room, not the big table. That space stayed closed. He sat across from me, elbows on the counter. I went through her emails, he said. I had to know. I waited. There are messages between Sabrina and Leonard, he continued. Not just flirting. Plans. Plans for what? I asked. He swallowed. To move to Arizona. To start over. To buy a small house. Just the two of them. I didn't react. He kept going. She told him, once I had this house in my name, she would divorce me, then sell it, split the money with him. I kept my eyes on him. Read the exact line. He unlocked his phone, hands shaking. He opened the email. He read out loud, Once the old house transfers, it'll sell fast. Aaron won't fight. He's soft. I'll walk away with half. Then I'm done. Aaron's voice cracked halfway, but he forced himself to finish. He's useful now, but not later. Silence filled the kitchen. I didn't console him. I didn't touch him. I didn't soften it. He lowered the phone. She didn't love me. No, I said. She loved the access. He nodded, tiny, slow movements. Then he said, Mom, there's something worse. Say it. He looked away like he didn't want to speak it, but he had to. She called me unstable. She said she could make a case that my stress made me unfit to manage property. I kept my tone level. That was her plan B. He looked back at me, shaken. She was building evidence against both of us. Yes. He pressed his palms together like he was trying to keep himself from falling apart. Mom, how did I not see it? How did I defend her? How could I look at you and believe she cared about me? You wanted a family, I said. She wanted a foothold. He nodded again, this time like a confession. Then he said the line I had been waiting for. I destroyed the one person who actually loved me. I didn't let him slip into guilt. Don't make this about pain, I said. Make it about awareness. He breathed out, slow, heavy. Then he whispered, Mom, I'm sorry. I know. He blinked at me. Do you forgive me? No, I said. Not yet. He looked shocked, but he didn't argue. I continued calm and steady. Forgiveness isn't a blanket, it's a process. And you're at the first step, Aaron, not the last. He nodded, quiet, accepting. He looked around the kitchen then. It was small, warm, clean. My machines, my tools, my blue folder stacked neatly. He pointed to the sewing table. You're working again? Yes. He gave a tiny smile, pained, but real. It looks good. The place looks strong. It is, I said, because it has boundaries now. He looked down. I want to help. I shook my head. Helping isn't fixing. Fixing isn't healing. Healing isn't replacing what happened. He sat still, letting every word land. Then he said something I didn't expect. Mom, I want to stay here tonight. Not to talk, not to ask anything. I just don't want to be with her. I shook my head again. Not in this house. He stiffened. You're not banned, I added. But you don't get space here as a refuge from your own consequences. He nodded slowly. I understand. Good. He was learning. Then he pulled something from his pocket. A house key. His copy of mine. He held it out with both hands. Take it, he said. I shouldn't have it. I didn't reach for it. Put it on the table, I said. He placed it down carefully, as if the metal might break. That's step one, I said. Earning trust starts with letting go of control. He nodded again. Then he whispered, Mom, I need to tell you the last part, the thing that made me leave her. I waited. He looked straight at me, eyes raw, voice thin. She told Leonard. She only married me because I was the easy son. She said Nathan would never be manipulated, so she chose me. I stayed still. She said I was pliable, that I'd bend if I felt guilty, that I'd hand her whatever she wanted because I didn't want to disappoint you. He clenched his jaw. I thought she chose me because she loved me, but she chose me because she could use me. Yes, I said. She picked the entry point, not the partner. His mouth trembled, but he didn't cry. He forced steadiness into his voice. I'm done being useful. I nodded. That's the man I raised. Late, but better late than never. Aaron looked around the kitchen again. Then he looked at me. Mom, what happens now? You rebuild yourself first, I said. Then you rebuild what you broke, not around me, but near me. His eyes softened. Can I come back tomorrow? You can knock, I said. We'll see if the door opens. His shoulders lowered, not in defeat, but relief. He stood up to leave. He reached the doorway, paused, and turned back. I know you're not ready to forgive me, he said quietly, but I will earn it, however long it takes. I didn't answer. He nodded anyway, like he respected the silence. He stepped outside. I closed the door behind him. Not hard, not soft, just final enough. Then I walked to the living room. I plugged in my brother's sewing machine. The quiet hum filled the house, steady, confident, mine. I folded fabric. I checked the stitches. I restored the rhythm of my routines, one line at a time. The house wasn't warm yet, but it wasn't cold anymore either. It was stable, It was mine, and for the first time in months, it was honest. Tomorrow would bring the fallout. Tonight was mine to breathe, and I knew exactly what the next step would be. The next morning, the house was quiet. No shouting, no pressure, no footsteps waiting to corner me. I made coffee, the same way I'd done for years. Simple, strong, steady. I sat at the kitchen table, the small one, not the big dining table that had held so many arguments. I opened my leather notebook. Henry's last gift to me before he passed. I wrote one line at the top of the page. I'm still here. The pen didn't shake. A few minutes later, I heard a soft knock on the door. Aaron. I opened it halfway. He stood outside holding a small box. His voice was low. Mom, this is everything she left. Her keys, her access cards, anything connected to your house. I kept my tone flat. Leave it on the chair. He placed the box down carefully. Are you all right? He asked. I'm steady, I said. He nodded, looking relieved and sad at the same time. I won't take more of your morning. I'm trying to show up the right way. I didn't invite him in. Good, I said. He stepped back. Before leaving, he said, When you're ready to talk, I'll be here. I didn't promise anything. I closed the door. That was enough for now. I went back to the kitchen. I opened the box he left. Keys, papers, a few pieces of mail, and Sabrina's handwriting on a torn envelope. I shut the box and pushed it aside. I wasn't going to spend another minute on her. I turned toward my sewing machine. I checked the needle, rethreaded it, and pressed the pedal. The machine hummed softly. Clean, even, predictable. It felt like the first real moment of control in months. Around noon, I stepped outside to water the mums by the front steps. A neighbor across the street waved. Glad to see you out, she said. I'm fine, I answered. And I meant it. She walked closer. We heard some of the shouting last week. If you need anything, I'm handling it, I said. She nodded with respect. I believe you. When she left, I stood for a moment, looking at my house. Every window, every door, every repair I had made with my own 2 hands. This place had carried my whole life, but I wasn't afraid to walk into a new one. Inside, I packed a few more things. My sewing kits, Henry's photo, the enamel blue kettle he always teased me about. Only essentials. Only what mattered. By late afternoon, the light changed. Warm, soft, the kind that made the kitchen glow just a little. I brewed tea, sat at the counter, and let the quiet settle around me. Then my phone rang. Unknown number, I answered. Mrs. Hartley? This is Dr. Barnes from Riverwood Clinic. I straightened slightly. Yes? He continued. Sabrina checked herself into treatment this morning. She asked that we notify you of her condition. She's stable. I didn't speak. He added, She listed you as someone she might want to contact later. There's no obligation on your part. We just follow protocol. Thank you, I said. That's all I need to know. I hung up. For the first time, I didn't feel anger toward Sabrina. I didn't feel pity either. What I felt was distance, clean, unburdened distance. She was out of my house, out of my son's life, out of my decisions. That was enough. As evening came, I turned on the kitchen light, the same warm light that had survived every storm this family put me through. It filled the room, steady and clear. I opened my notebook again. I wrote, If someone harms you under your own roof, you don't owe them silence. Then I wrote the second line. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned. I thought of Aaron, of how he looked at me now, not as someone he could lean on without consequence, but as someone whose boundaries he finally understood. He would need time. He would need consistency. He would need to rebuild himself before rebuilding anything with me. And I wasn't rushing that process for him. For the first time in years, I chose myself without apology. I stood, turned off the stove light, and placed Henry's photo back on the shelf beside my sewing machine. Not as a memory of loss, just as a reminder of the steadiness we built together. Then the door knocked again. I opened it. Aaron stood there with 2 grocery bags. I'm not staying, he said quickly. I just brought you a few things. Basic stuff. I want to show that I'm trying, not talking. He held them out. I took the bags without a smile or a frown. "Thank you," I said. "That's a start." He nodded. "I'll slow down. I know you need space." "Correct," I answered. He stepped back. "Good night, Mom." "Good night." He walked away down the path, shoulders tense but determined. I closed the door gently and returned to the kitchen. I put the groceries away. I wiped the counter. I tidied the sewing table. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel broken. I felt centered. This was my life now, lighter, quieter, mine. I sat down one last time and wrote the final line in my notebook for the night. I choose myself. The words didn't tremble. Neither did I. My house was stable. My boundaries were strong. My voice was clear. And tomorrow, I would wake up without fear, because the only person in control of my life was me. I learned something simple. When someone tries to push you out of your own life, you don't fight with anger. You draw a line, you stand on your side of it, and you keep your dignity. If you've ever been talked down to, ignored, or treated like you don't matter, hear me clearly. You are not invisible. You are not weak, and you don't owe anyone your silence. Thank you for spending this time with me. If my story reminded you of something in your own life or made you feel less alone, I hope you'll stay with this community. This channel exists so we can speak up, stay strong, and choose ourselves at any age. If you'd like more stories like this, you can subscribe, leave a comment, or just tell me where you're watching from. I always read the comments. Take care of yourself. And remember, respect is earned by how people treat you, not by what they call family.